Former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard goes full nut job on the Joe Rogan experience. She is very clearly beyond salvage at this point in time. And quite frankly, it's sad. Let's focus on how it's sad when someone gets completely sucked into conspiracy nonsense. This is a bit of an episode from Joe Rogan episode 2032. The guests on this episode were Tulsi Gabbard and someone named BJ Penn. The topic is, of course, the indictments of the failed former president, twice impeached, 4 times indicted, civilly liable rapist Donald Trump. Here is Tulsi Gabbard weighing in on the indictments. Take a listen. Let's discuss.
I think they are doing, and by they, I mean
Dr. Evil.
Well, no, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. By they, I mean the Democrat elite that have vast control. It's not just the President Biden or the Biden administration. It's the media. It's the politicized Department of Justice. They are doing the timing of all of these charges against Trump is not an accident. The fact that they want to hold multiple court hearings for these charges.
They're called criminal trials, Tulsi.
The day before Super Tuesday, which is a major turning point in any candidate's election. They want to kick off these court hearings the day before Super Tuesday. It's not an accident. This is all happening right now.
All right. So when she says the timing is not an accident, what exactly is she saying? Because a lot of times these people talk in euphemisms, or at least indirectly. It's not an accident that this is the timing of these indictments and court appearances and so on and so forth. What is she saying? Is she saying that there was a plan to indict Trump exactly at this moment in order to damage him as much as possible? Because if that's what she's saying, if we care about the facts and what we know, there are a number of important responses that we need to consider. The first should always be, is there any evidence that what Tulsi Gabbard is saying is true? And the answer is there is no evidence that what she is saying is true. There is simply no evidence that there was any kind of coordinated and specific effort to make these charges, to bring forward these indictments at this time, to schedule the trials on the dates that they've been scheduled. They've not all even been scheduled yet. There's just no evidence. Now, if we get some evidence, then we'll have something to talk about. But the first thing is, if we care about evidence, there's none. The second part of it is, okay, so an argument is being made about the timing. Tulsi Gabbard is making it. Trump has said, oh, why wasn't it sooner, or why wasn't it later, or whatever the case may be. The question we should first ask is, well, these are complicated criminal investigations of high-level people. How long do such investigations normally take? How long is typical from the time an investigation starts until you get to an indictment and then to a trial? There is no one answer, but it is very common that there's a range from the investigation takes 9 to 10 months all the way up to a couple of years, 2 to 3 years it can sometimes take. We are well within that. Now, you could say that's a big range, David. They could have waited, or they might have been able to do it sooner. We have no evidence of that. And the amount of time that these investigations went before the indictments is completely typical. The range being 9 to 10 months all the way up to a couple of years. Third, the argument is this was all deliberately timed in order to be as damaging as possible to Donald Trump. I don't believe this is the timing that is the most damaging to Donald Trump. So by virtue of that, it's also not supported by the circumstances. We're in a primary right now, and quite early in one. Right now, most people who are paying attention are highly engaged, reliable primary voters. A lot of the electorate is not paying any attention. Much of the electorate doesn't pay attention until after the primaries. And for those who do vote in the primary, they typically start paying attention in November, December, January, etc. The indictments right now arguably have helped Trump. Trump's polling has improved since the indictments came forward. If you were really trying to time this to hurt Trump, you would do it all after he's the nominee. Get Republicans to select this guy, then dump 4 criminal trials on him that'll pull him off of the general campaign trail. Even the trial being in March, before Trump will be the nominee, if indeed he becomes the nominee, is not that damaging to Donald Trump. So none of this makes sense because there's no evidence and because it also circumstantially wouldn't be the best way to damage Trump. But it doesn't matter in Tulsi Gabbard's world. Let's continue. Listen to a little more.
It's Banana Republic stuff.
It really is. And that's what they're doing is, again, these terrible things that are happening in our country are happening because we have people in power who care more about themselves and their power than they do about the people, this country, our Constitution, our democracy. They are setting this incredibly dangerous precedent that now, much like many banana republics in the world, whoever's in power has the ability to politicize and weaponize that power to go after their political opponent.
Again, the suggestion from Tulsi is the Biden administration is going after Trump because Trump is Biden's likely political opponent. There is no evidence of that. And much as they want to say, we are a banana republic because Trump has been indicted, and now everybody's just going to indict whoever. No. You have to really understand that. Trump was indicted because 4 different investigations found evidence that he committed crimes such that a grand jury said, yeah, it looks like there's evidence here, so we're going to go ahead and indict. Biden had nothing to do with it that we know of at this point in time. If Tulsi has any evidence Biden was involved, bring it forward. The idea that now everybody will just indict their political enemy would only become true if in retaliation, Trump figures out a way, if he becomes president, to get Joe Biden indicted. But that would again be Trump doing the wrong thing. As far as when you indict former leaders, it's objectively bad. That's not true if there's evidence that they did something wrong. They want you to believe that it is a bad thing that we might be able to hold a former president accountable. It's actually a good thing to know that nobody is above the law. And that's potentially what we're learning here. We'll listen to a little bit more of this, but it's pretty nauseating, as you can see.
That's the real, you take away whatever people think about Trump or whatever.
Right.
The consequences and implications of what is actually happening and what so many of the Democrat elite are justifying in the name of protecting democracy is actually destroying it.
And when you look at the charges, like when he gets indicted, where the day before there's a scandal, there's a chart of the revelations that have come about Biden.
Yeah.
And then day after Trump gets arraigned.
This is another element to this, which is there are pseudo scandals about Trump and about Joe and Hunter Biden coming out of the right every single day. No matter what day Trump gets indicted over the last several months, almost certainly if it's a weekday, there's some alleged revelation about Joe or Hunter Biden. This is retroactively adjusting the timing to fit a narrative you've decided is true. So this is vile and disgusting stuff. Tulsi's fully fallen for it, or it's a grift, or I don't know what's going on. But it does appear, sadly, and it is sad, it appears that Tulsi Gabbard is beyond salvage. Let's now move from Tulsi to Marjorie Taylor Greene.